It was a gloomy Monday morning when Alex Freeman, a high school senior at Crestwood High, shuffled through the front doors. He was used to the monotonous routine of classes, but today was different. Today, something sinister lurked in the shadows of Crestwood. The halls were unusually quiet as students settled into their first period classes. Whispers of unease rippled through the corridors, fueled by rumors of an impending lockdown drill. Alex's best friend, Emma, sat beside him in English class, her eyes darting nervously to the door. The morning dragged on, and the ominous atmosphere grew heavier with each passing minute. The principal's voice crackled over the intercom, announcing an unscheduled lockdown. Panic washed over the students as they scrambled to their assigned hiding places. Alex, along with Emma and their classmates, huddled in a darkened storage room at the back of the classroom. Fear coursed through their veins as they listened to the muffled sounds of commotion outside the door. Whispers and rumors spread like wildfire among the students. Some said it was just a routine drill, while others claimed there had been a security breach. The uncertainty gnawed at Alex's nerves, and he couldn't help but feel that something was terribly wrong. Hours passed in agonizing silence. The room grew colder, and the tension in the air seemed to intensify. Anxiety clawed at their minds as they waited for any word from the outside. As the minutes turned into hours, fear gave way to frustration. Alex and his classmates exchanged worried glances, their thoughts consumed by unanswered questions. Why hadn't they heard any updates or instructions from the school authorities? Where were the teachers? And what was the nature of the threat that had prompted the lockdown? Emma, her voice trembling, voiced the concerns that weighed on everyone's minds. "We can't just stay here in the dark," she said. "We need to know what's happening." With reluctant nods of agreement, they decided to venture out of their hiding place and investigate the situation on their own. As they cautiously stepped into the dimly lit hallway, a suffocating silence enveloped them. The normally bustling school was now eerily empty. Classroom doors stood ajar, and the absence of any signs of life sent chills down their spines. The group moved in silence, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. They finally reached the main office, hoping to find answers. To their dismay, the office was deserted, and the intercom system remained silent. The feeling of isolation intensified, and a sense of foreboding settled over Alex and his friends. They realized that something had gone terribly wrong, and the school's empty, haunted halls seemed to hold a dark secret. As the group continued to explore the school, they encountered increasingly unsettling sights. Lockers were left ajar, textbooks scattered on the floor, and there were eerie streaks of what appeared to be blood on the walls. A chilling realization dawned upon them. Whatever had occurred during the lockdown had left its mark, and it was far from being a mere drill. They arrived at the cafeteria, a cavernous space that now felt like a sinister maze. The flickering fluorescent lights cast eerie shadows across the room, and a feeling of dread settled over them. Their search for answers would lead them deeper into the heart of the darkness that had consumed Crestwood High. In the cafeteria, they stumbled upon a scene that froze their blood. Tables and chairs were overturned, and a trail of smeared blood led to a large, ominous message scrawled on the wall. "They are coming." The group exchanged horrified glances, their minds racing to comprehend the cryptic message. Who were they, and what did it mean? Dread coiled around their hearts as they ventured further into the school, determined to uncover the truth. They moved cautiously through the dimly lit hallways, their footsteps echoing like distant whispers. With every step, the oppressive silence pressed down on them, making it clear that they were not alone in the school. As they explored deeper into the school's labyrinthine halls, the group began to catch fleeting glimpses of mysterious figures. Shadows seemed to move just beyond their line of sight, and ghostly whispers brushed against their ears. Emma, her voice trembling, whispered, "Do you see them too?" The others nodded, their hearts pounding with fear. The figures, barely visible in the dim light, moved with unnatural grace and speed, vanishing into the darkness before they could be identified. It was clear that something malevolent lurked in the shadows, and they had become unwitting players in a nightmarish game of hide-and-seek. The group's journey through the school became a harrowing odyssey as they encountered more chilling signs of the malevolent presence that haunted Crestwood High. Desks were arranged in disturbing patterns, and graffiti messages covered the walls, each one more sinister than the last. As they delved deeper into the darkness, the sense of being watched intensified. Whispers echoed through the corridors, mocking and taunting them, as if the very walls held a malevolent consciousness. Panic began to gnaw at their sanity, and they couldn't help but wonder if they had become trapped in a nightmarish realm where the laws of reality no longer applied. In their desperate search for answers, the group finally stumbled upon a classroom that held a clue to the horrors that had befallen Crestwood High. Inside, they found a projector still running, casting flickering images on the wall. The images were nightmarish, a distorted figure shrouded in darkness, whispering incoherent incantations. It seemed to be a recording of someone performing a sinister ritual, and the realization hit them like a sledgehammer. Whatever had been unleashed during the lockdown was not of this world. It was a malevolent entity, and it was growing stronger with every passing moment. As the recording played on, the figure's form contorted, and it spoke directly to them, its voice a sinister, mocking whisper. "You should never have come here," it hissed. Terrified and cornered, the group made a desperate decision. They had to find a way out of Crestwood High before the malevolent entity could claim them. They retraced their steps, retracing the eerie path of destruction and messages left behind. But their escape would not be easy. As they neared the school's entrance, the very doors they had entered earlier now seemed sealed shut, as if the building itself had conspired to trap them inside. Panic gripped them as they realized they were trapped, with the malevolent entity drawing closer with each passing moment. The nightmare of Crestwood High had only just begun, and escape seemed impossible. With escape thwarted and the malevolent entity closing in, the group had no choice but to confront the supernatural force that haunted Crestwood High. They needed answers, and they needed to put an end to the horrors that had taken hold of their school. They began to piece together the cryptic messages and signs left behind in the classrooms and corridors. It was a grim puzzle, one that hinted at dark rituals, ancient curses, and the presence of vengeful spirits. As they delved deeper into the supernatural mysteries, they could feel the malevolent entity's eyes upon them, its presence growing more tangible, more malevolent, with each step they took. With the malevolent entity closing in, the group realized that the only way to confront it was to unravel the mysteries of Crestwood High's dark past. They needed to discover the source of the malevolent force that had been unleashed during the lockdown. Their investigation led them to an old school library, a dimly lit chamber filled with dusty books and forgotten lore. Among the tomes, they discovered a journal written by a former student named Sarah, who had been obsessed with uncovering the school's secrets. Sarah's journal revealed a chilling tale of ancient rituals conducted by the school's founders, binding malevolent spirits to the very foundation of Crestwood High. These spirits had remained dormant, imprisoned for centuries, until the lockdown had awakened their thirst for vengeance. As they read, the group could sense the malevolent spirits drawing near, and the clock ticked closer to an unearthly hour. An hour that had been foretold in Sarah's journal. With the malevolent spirits closing in, the group had to make a harrowing choice: to confront the entities and risk becoming pawns in their dark designs, or to forge an unholy pact of their own. In a desperate bid for answers, they performed a ritual, a binding of their own, invoking the spirits that now haunted Crestwood High. As the candles flickered and the room filled with an oppressive chill, they called upon the malevolent entities to reveal their purpose and grant them safe passage. Their voices trembled as they made their pact, promising to seek out the entity's desires and carry out its will in exchange for sparing their lives. With their pact sealed, the malevolent spirits responded with cryptic whispers, hinting at a hidden chamber deep within the school, a chamber that held the key to their salvation. With newfound determination, The group set out to find the hidden chamber that held the answers they sought. They navigated the labyrinthine corridors of Crestwood High, following the cryptic instructions whispered to them by the malevolent spirits. The journey was fraught with danger as the malevolent entities sought to test their resolve. Doors slammed shut, ominous shadows danced on the walls, and ghostly figures emerged from the darkness, taunting and luring them deeper into the school's sinister depths. As they reached the heart of the school, they finally stumbled upon the Chamber of Secrets, an ancient room concealed from prying eyes for centuries. Within the hidden chamber, the group uncovered a grisly tableau of ritualistic symbols and arcane artifacts. It was a place of unspeakable horrors, where the malevolent entity's influence had been at its strongest. As they explored the chamber, they discovered a journal left behind by Sarah, the former student who had sought to unravel the school's secrets. Her journal recounted her descent into madness as she became ensnared by the malevolent entity's malevolent influence. But the most chilling discovery awaited them, a cryptic gateway to another realm, a portal that beckoned them to confront the malevolent entity face to face. With trepidation, they realized that the time had come to confront the malevolent entity and discover the true nature of its malevolent agenda. As the group stood before the cryptic gateway, a palpable sense of dread hung in the air. They knew that the malevolent entity lurked on the other side, waiting to reveal its sinister intentions. With a deep breath, they stepped through the portal and were immediately engulfed by an otherworldly realm of darkness. The air was thick with malevolence, and twisted, nightmarish landscapes stretched out in all directions. At the center of this nightmarish realm, they found themselves face to face with the malevolent entity, an entity that defied description. Its form shifted and writhed, a swirling mass of shadow and malevolence. The entity spoke, its voice a discordant chorus of agonized souls. "You seek answers, mortals, but you are ill-prepared for the truths that lie beyond." The malevolent entity revealed its malevolent agenda, a plan to unleash its dark influence upon the world, using Crestwood High as a conduit. It sought to spread chaos, despair, and suffering far beyond the confines of the school. The entity's malevolent power was rooted in the ancient rituals that had bound it to the school's foundation. It had waited for centuries, biding its time, until the lockdown had provided an opportunity to escape its prison and wreak havoc. The group realized that they were the only ones standing in the way of the entity's malevolent ambitions. With newfound determination, they vowed to thwart its plans and put an end to the malevolent force that had plagued Crestwood High. The group's confrontation with the malevolent entity escalated into a battle of wills, a struggle for control over their own minds and the fate of Crestwood High. The entity unleashed a barrage of psychic attacks, delving into their deepest fears and regrets, seeking to weaken their resolve. But the group drew strength from their unity and their pact with the malevolent spirits. With each passing moment, the entity's power waned as they pushed back against its malevolent influence. Their determination to protect their school and their own lives burned brightly, a beacon of resistance in the darkness. But the entity was not easily defeated, and the battle was far from over. In their desperate battle against the malevolent entity, the group realized that the only way to defeat it was to make a sacrifice of their own. They needed to offer something of great significance, something that would weaken the entity's hold over Crestwood High. One by one, they stepped forward, each offering a piece of their own memories, their own fears, and their own regrets. As they made their sacrifices, they could feel the malevolent entity's grip weakening, its power waning. But the final sacrifice, the most painful of all, remained. One among them would have to offer something far greater, something that would test the very limits of their resolve. As the group prepared for the ultimate sacrifice, tension and fear hung heavy in the air. They knew that one of them would have to give up a part of themselves, a piece of their very soul, to weaken the malevolent entity. With tearful farewells, they made their choice. It was Alex, their unwavering leader, who stepped forward. He had carried the burden of responsibility from the beginning, and now he would bear the weight of this sacrifice. With a deep breath, Alex offered a part of his own soul to the malevolent entity. It was a searing, agonizing ordeal, as if a piece of his very essence was being torn away. The entity shrieked in pain, its form contorting and writhing. It weakened, its malevolent influence over Crestwood High diminishing. But the sacrifice had taken a toll on Alex, and he would never be the same again. As the malevolent entity writhed in pain, weakened by the sacrifices made by the group, they realized that victory was within their grasp. With one final surge of determination, they confronted the entity head-on, unleashing their collective willpower and the power of the malevolent spirits they had bound themselves to. The entity let out a deafening, otherworldly scream, its form collapsing in on itself, consumed by the very darkness it had sought to unleash. Crestwood High trembled as the malevolent entity was banished, its malevolent influence shattered. The nightmarish realm they had entered began to crumble, and they found themselves back in the school's hidden chamber. The nightmare of Crestwood High had finally come to an end. With the malevolent entity defeated, Crestwood High began to return to normal. The cryptic messages and signs that had haunted the school faded away, and the oppressive atmosphere lifted. But victory came at a great cost. Alex, who had sacrificed a part of his soul to defeat the entity, bore the scars of his ordeal. He was forever changed, haunted by the memories of the malevolent realm and the sacrifices that had been made. The group knew that they could never forget the horrors they had faced, but they had emerged stronger and closer than ever before. In the aftermath of their harrowing ordeal, Crestwood High slowly began to heal. The scars of the malevolent entity's presence were not easily erased, but the school's spirit endured. The group of friends, bound together by their shared experiences, became a source of strength and support for one another. They vowed to protect Crestwood High from any future threats, to ensure that the horrors they had faced would never return. As the days turned into weeks and the school year came to a close, Crestwood High began to regain its reputation as a place of learning and growth, rather than a place of darkness and despair. Despite their victory, there were still lingering mysteries surrounding Crestwood High and the malevolent entity that had plagued it. The group couldn't help but wonder who had orchestrated the lockdown and awakened the ancient evil. As they delved deeper into their investigation, they uncovered a trail of clues that led them to a secret society of individuals who had sought to harness the malevolent entity's power for their own dark purposes. The society had been responsible for unleashing the entity and orchestrating the lockdown, but their ultimate goals remained shrouded in secrecy. With the knowledge of the secret society's existence, the group knew that their battle was far from over. They had thwarted the malevolent entity's plans, but the society's members still posed a threat. Determined to protect Crestwood High and prevent any further harm, the group embarked on a mission to expose the society's dark agenda and put an end to their machinations. They knew that they couldn't do it alone and sought allies among the faculty, students, and even the malevolent spirits they had forged a pact with. Their investigation into the secret society led them to a final climactic confrontation, an underground lair hidden beneath Crestwood High. In the depths of the lair, they discovered a vast network of tunnels and chambers, filled with arcane symbols, ancient texts, and dark rituals. As they confronted the society's members, a fierce battle erupted. The society's leaders, cloaked in shadows and wielding malevolent power, sought to protect their secrets at any cost. But the group, armed with the knowledge they had gained and the strength of their bond, fought back with determination. With each passing moment, the society's grip on Crestwood High weakened, and their malevolent plans unraveled. In the underground lair, the group managed to expose the society's malevolent agenda to the world, revealing their dark rituals and sinister plans. As the truth came to light, public outrage grew, and the society's influence crumbled. The society's leaders, faced with the consequences of their actions, fled into the shadows, their malevolent power waning. Crestwood High was finally free from their influence, and the school began to thrive once more. With the society's demise, Crestwood High could finally move forward. The school became a symbol of resilience and strength, a place where students and faculty could focus on learning and growth without the specter of darkness looming over them. The group of friends who had faced the horrors of the lockdown and the malevolent entity remained bonded by their shared experiences. They knew that they had been forever changed by the ordeal, but they had emerged stronger and more determined than ever. As they looked to the future, they were filled with hope that Crestwood High would continue to shine as a beacon of light, despite the darkness they had faced. Years passed, and the events of the lockdown and the battle against the malevolent entity became a distant memory. The group of friends had moved on with their lives, but they never forgot the lessons they had learned and the bonds they had forged. Crestwood High had become a place of legends, a school with a storied history of triumph over darkness. The stories of the lockdown and the group's courageous battle against the malevolent entity were passed down through generations, a reminder of the school's enduring spirit. And so, the tale of Crestwood High's harrowing ordeal came to an end. It was a story of fear and courage, of darkness and light, and of the unbreakable bonds that can form in the face of adversity. Though the horrors of that fateful lockdown would never be forgotten, Crestwood High would always stand as a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of unity in the face of malevolent forces.